All right, let me scroll down here. Turn in your book to the Gettysburg page. Not sure what page. Think it's around 41. Before we get started reading our text, I want you to complete this quick write that says, describe a time when you thought you were going to lose a game or fail something, but you succeeded. What did you do to succeed? Go ahead and pause the recording and write your quick write, 3 to 4 sentences, and then press play to get started. Our focus question for today, just like always, is what is the main idea of the text? First time we read through this text, through a nonfiction text, we want to find the main idea. What does the author want us to learn from this passage? We know to do that, we ask the how or why question about our title. And so a how or why question I have about the title Gettysburg is, I know that Gettysburg is a city in Pennsylvania, and I know that battles in the Civil War were named after cities. So I'm thinking Gettysburg is a battle, and I want to know, why is the Battle of Gettysburg important? Why is the Battle of Gettysburg important? Go ahead and write down your how or why question in box 1. Press pause if you need to, and then we're going to go over these vocabulary words. The first one is bordering. Something is bordering. It means they're like right next to each other. So you can think about how like Mexico borders Texas. They're right next to each other. Arkansas also borders Texas. New Mexico borders Texas. Oklahoma borders Texas. There are several states that are located right next to Texas, so they border. Next is charge. Charge has a lot of different meanings. You can charge your cell phone. You can charge someone admission to like the movies. But in our text today, charge is talking about moving towards something to destroy it. So the armies are going to charge at each other, or they're going to move toward each other with the purpose of harming one another. A large animal might charge its prey. And then last we have dusk. It is the period between day and night, so it's right before the sun goes down, is called dusk. Dawn would be the opposite of dusk, and that's when the sun is like right before the sun comes up. All right, turn to section 3 in your text. We want to go ahead and get started with our reading. I'm up here at Gettysburg, and remember we're thinking, why is Gettysburg an important battle? Gettysburg is a small town in Pennsylvania, just north of this Maryland state line. So Pennsylvania and Maryland border each other, and Gettysburg is near the Maryland border. In the summer of 1863, Confederate General Robert E. Lee marched 75,000 men north to invade Union territory. On July 1st, a small Union force met and fought them there until reinforcements arrived. So the Union received reinforcements in this battle. The Union leader, General George Meade, had an army of more than 88,000 men. The next day, the troops fought over important spots bordering the town. On the morning of July 3rd, there was a fight around Culp's Hill. Then Lee told a division led by Major General George Pickett to attack Meade's battle line. Thousands of Confederates ran directly at Union cannons and riflemen. A huge number of Southerners were killed and wounded during Pickett's charge. This defeat forced Lee to retreat south on July 4th. His fight with Meade was the largest battle ever fought in North America. So I want you to go back and reread and try to determine the main idea. Why is this battle important? And this last sentence in particular gives us a clue about why it's important. We know it was the largest battle ever fought in North America. And in your main idea, you might want to include who won or lost. You can pause if you need to write down your main idea, and then press play when you're ready for box 2. Box 2 says, who won the Battle of Gettysburg? How? For going back in our text, it says, this defeat means loss, forced Lee to retreat. So if Lee is retreating and Lee is the Confederate general, that means the Confederates lost, so the Union won the Battle of Gettysburg. And you could give, for a number of reasons, you could say, well, you know, Lee and his men retreated. That's why they lost. If you want to go a little deeper, you can talk about Pickett's charge and how when Pickett and his men charged General Meade, many of them were killed and wounded, and that's why they retreated. Go ahead and press pause to write down your answer, and then press play when you're ready. 2B says, what obstacles did the Confederate soldiers encounter during the battle? Well, if we go back up here, we know the Confederates started the battle. They invaded Union territory. The Unions got reinforcements. So one obstacle is that they were met with reinforcements, or they were met with more men than they initially thought there would be. So there was more men than they thought. And then if we keep reading, another obstacle was General George Pickett's charge. Many of them were killed, so they weren't able, to get past the Union cannons and riflemen. Go ahead and press pause if you need to, and then play when you're ready for box 3. We'll go to the next page and look at the picture and caption for Little Round Top. It says, this hill gave soldiers a good view from the battlefield. Both armies knew they had to seize it to win. Southern troops charged it, but were defeated by the 20th Maine Regiment. The Maine troops ran out of bullets, but they surprised the Southerners with a bayonet charge. And remember, the bayonet is like a sword. So they weren't able to use their guns. Instead, they just ran out them with swords and killed them that way. Let's go to box 3. Why did both armies want Little Round Top? Well, the text says that it's a hill, and the soldiers would have a good view of the battlefield. So in war, you want to get to the highest point possible so you can shoot down at your enemy. It's a lot easier to shoot down at something than it is to shoot up a hill at something. So both enemies wanted to get to the hill for the better view. Press pause if you need to, and then play when you're ready for 3B. How did the Union seize Little Round Top? Okay, well, let's go back in this caption. It says the Southerners charged it, but the 20th Maine Regiment defeated them. So Maine is in the northern United States, so Maine would be the Union regiments. And it says they defeated them actually with a bayonet charge because they ran out of bullets. Press pause to write down the answer to 2B, and then go on to number 4. And for number 4, we're going to look at, back on that first page, the dusk attack, and it's this picture right here. It says, at dusk on July 2nd, 2 Confederate brigades from General Early's division rushed Union troops at the gatehouse at Gettysburg Cemetery. Union reinforcements pushed them back with many casualties. Newspaper artist Arthur Burgos sketched the attack. So this isn't a picture, it's actually a drawing. And I hope you're getting the idea that there were different groups of soldiers all around Gettysburg, and a Confederate regiment or group would meet a Union regiment and group, and they would fight each other. But there were all these little battles going on around Gettysburg. It wasn't one huge battle. There were a bunch of little ones going on around it. So 4A says, what was the result of the dusk attack by the Confederate brigades? So we want to know, did the Confederate brigades win or lose the dusk attack? Go ahead and pause the tape so you can write it down, and then press play when you're ready. And then 4B, how did this maneuver or these actions affect the outcome of the battle? So what happened because the Confederate brigades attacked at dusk? What was the response of the Union troops? Press pause to write down your answer, and then play when you're ready for the paragraph. This shouldn't say this. Hang on, you might need to change this in your text. It looks like I forgot to change this piece. It should say, why is the battle, or sorry, that should say was. Why was the Battle of Gettysburg important? Go ahead and change that in your text. Why was the Battle of Gettysburg important? We already learned about medical treatment. Sorry, I forgot to erase it. When you're writing your paragraph, make sure you start with the main idea, and then I want you to give as many details as possible to support this main idea. So if you're talking about how it was the largest battle ever, some of your evidence might need to come from how there were multiple smaller battles going on in Gettysburg. And so you can talk about the dusk attack, you can talk about Pickett's charge, and you can talk about Little Round Top. You have plenty of time, so go ahead and get started.